Well, welcome back to the kitchen table, or welcome to the kitchen table if you haven't been here before. Kitchen table where conversations, important and unimportant, and take place, and people sit around, they tell stories, and they read stories aloud, because that's what I like to do. And last week I read a story called The Cremation of Sam McGee by Robert Service. And this week I had a request to do another Robert Service poem. So I picked one that I don't think people are going to be very familiar with. A couple of years ago, went up to Alaska on a tour, and also toured the Yukon and Dawson City, where Robert Service had a cabin, and went to the cabin, talked with the guide. She knew I was a fan of Robert Service, and before I left, she said, I've got a poem for you that I don't think too many people know about, but here it is. It's called The Three Bears. And that's B-A-R-E-S. This is definitely low humor, bathroom humor, outhouse humor, but it's fun to read. It'd be a great poem to memorize. So, let me get my reading glasses on here, and we'll just give it a try and have some fun, right? Ma tried to wash her garden slacks, but couldn't get 'em clean, and so she thought she'd soak 'em in a bucket of benzene. It worked all right. She wrung 'em out and then wondered what she'd do with all that bucket load of high explosive residue. She knew that it was dangerous to scatter it around, for Grandpa liked to throw his lighted matches on the ground. Somehow she didn't dare to pour it down the kitchen sink, and what the heck to do with it? Poor Ma just couldn't think. Then nature seemed to give the clue, as down the garden lot she spied the edifice that graced a solitary spot, their palace of necessity, the family joy and pride, enshrined in morning glory vine, with graded seats inside, just like that cabin Goldilocks found occupied by three. But in this case, B-E-A-R was spelled B-A-R-E. A tiny seat for baby bear, a medium for Ma, a full-size section sacred to the bear of Grandpapa. Well, Ma was mighty glad to get that worry off her mind, and hefting up the bucket so combustionally inclined, she hurried down the garden to that refuge so discreet, and dumped the liquid menace safely through the center seat. The next morning, as old Grandpa arose, he made a hearty meal, and sniffed the air, and said, "By gosh, how full of beans I feel! Darned if I ain't as fresh as paint. My joy will be complete with just one quiet session on the usual morning seat, to smoke me pipe and meditate and maybe write a poem, for that's the time when bits of rhyme get jogging through my dome." Well, he sat down on that special seat, slicked shiny by his age, and looking like Walt Whitman, just a silver-whiskered sage. He filled his corn cob to the brim and tapped it snugly down, and chuckled, "Of a perfect day, I reckon this the crown." He lit the weed, soothed his need, it was so soft and sweet, and then he dropped a lighted match clean through the middle seat. His little grandchild, Rosalind, cried from the kitchen door, "Oh, Ma, come quick, there's something wrong. I hear a dreadful roar. Oh, Ma, I see a sheet of flame. It's rising high and higher. Oh, Mommy dear, I sadly fear our comfort cots caught fire." Well, poor Ma was thrilled with horror at them words of Rosaline. She thought of Grandpa's matches and that bucket of benzene. So down the garden, geared on high, she ran with all her power, for regular was Grandpa, and she knew it was his hour. Then grasping, gasping Rosaline, she peered into the fire, a roaring, soaring furnace now, perchance old Grandpa's pyre. But as them twain expressed their pain, they heard a hearty cheer. Behold, the old rascallion squatting in the duck pond near, his silver whiskers singed away, and gosh almighty wreck, with half a yard of toilet seat entwined about his neck. He cried, "Say, folks, oh, did you hear the big blowout I made? It scared me stiff. I hope yuns was not too much afraid. But now I best be crawling out of this dog-gasted wet, for what I aim to figure out is what the heck I ate." All right, that'd be fun to memorize. Good thing to entertain people with. All right, next week maybe we'll do a little higher class poem. Somebody suggested doing My Last Duchess by Robert Browning, a good dramatic monologue. So maybe we'll give it a try. All right, going to turn this off now.